Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to part 12 for our Ninja Platformer tutorial series. In this video, we're going to be addressing some feedback that you all gave in the comments. It was about 2 videos ago. You mentioned that in the hitbox component here, it's doing too much. We've put all this logic inside of the hitbox component. It should go in the hurtbox component. And I agree, we're going to be addressing that. We're also going to create a stats resource for our enemy so that it can take more than just one hit. Currently, I'm running a sale. It is April 2025, and I am running a sale until the end of this month for my 1-bit Godot course. If you're interested in that, there will be a link in the pinned comment and a link in the description. You can check it out. It's currently $50. Usually is set to 150. Let's get started. First, you might be thinking, Ben, okay, you put this logic inside of hitbox. Why did you do that? That was silly. And let me show you why. So first, we're going to comment this out. Okay, I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to do Control K. And I'm going to save. And now there's our hurtboxes and hitboxes are no longer detecting each other. If we run the game, our player will not be able to interact or damage the cannon anymore. If we come into our hurtbox here and we add a ready function, and we do area entered dot connect. And we'll just connect to an anonymous function here. Area 2D. Area 2D. Print this hurt box was hit. Right? All we've done is we've taken the logic, the connecting to the area entered signal that was in our hitbox, and we moved it into the hurt box. Right? That's it. We should at least see it print down here. And it's not. Why is that? Okay, this is important because inside of Godot, once you have your layers and masks set up, an area will only trigger its area entered signal if it overlaps with another area that it finds on a layer. Okay? What does that mean? That means our hitbox exists on a mask. Our hurtbox exists on a layer. Our hurtbox, by definition, since the hitboxes don't exist on any layers, our hurtbox can never detect a hitbox. It never can. And that's fine. It does actually make sense for the hitbox to detect the hurtbox, right? But there's nuance here that's important. So if you ever put an area on a layer, it can't detect areas that are on masks. So if I have an area on layer 1, it will never trigger area entered when it overlaps with another area that is on mask 1. It will only ever trigger if it detects another area on layer 1. Now, if it's on mask 1, it will also detect layer 1. Okay? So our hitbox here, it can detect, it will trigger area entered, but our hurtbox can't. So let's recomment this back. Inside of our hurtbox, I'm going to make a new function called takeHit. And it will take an hitbox. I'll just have it return void. And we can just come into our hitbox and we can copy this logic right here. Actually, we only want this first bit here, or this second bit here. And then we'll say hurtbox.takeHit. We'll pass in self. Okay? So we're moving the logic for taking a hit into hurtbox, and then our hitbox is detecting the collision and then telling the hurtbox to take a hit. Come into our hurtbox. paste this in here. We no longer need this hurt box prefix with the dot here or here. And self, we got to fix this. Self now refers to the hurt box, but we actually want to pass in the hitbox, right? Other hitbox right here. That should be fine. I'm trying to decide if we should name this other hitbox. We can name it other hitbox. And our hitbox here, that all looks good. Now we've moved the logic from hitbox into hurtbox. And it makes a little more sense that it would be checking if it's invincible. It would be emitting the hurt signal. I agree with the feedback that was given. I think this is a step in the right direction toward cleaning up our code. Okay, now we can create our stats. Let's come over here into our file system, and I'm going to right click and do create new script. And this is going to be called stats, and it's going to inherit from resource. We're making a resource here. If you've ever used Unity, this is like a scriptable object. And it will allow us to create instances of this resource. Resource is just an object that doesn't exist in the scene tree, but it can exist in our file system. And it can contain data. It can even have functions and logic. Let's create this new stats resource. There we go. And when we come into our file system here, I've removed my camera because I just think it was in the way. I don't think it's actually worth the hassle of having it there anymore. So if you miss my face, then I guess I appreciate it. It's kind of you. Okay, let's do export. So we're going to give our stats a class name. This allows us to reference this resource as a type of stats. When we're exporting the resource, I'll show you what that looks like. It will allow us to export this specific resource rather than just exporting all resources. And when we're creating this resource in the file system, it also allows us to use this class name to create it. Our stats, we're just going to have a variable called health, var health. We'll set it equal to 10 by default, just for fun. And it's going to have a setter. And we'll just say health equals value. So this is the setter. We're also going to create a signal for our health. We'll call it no health. We can use this to signal out when the stats has run out of health. And then any scene that is using our stats resource can do something appropriately. Die, right? Our enemy can die. It can connect to this no health signal on its stats, and when the stats reach 0, it can then call some function to die. So if health is less than or equal to 0, no health dot emit. There we go. Simple. Simple. Open up your enemy cannon. Inside of the script here, we're going to create an export variable. Export var, we'll call it stats. And now we can type this export variable as stats. Why? Because we gave the class name, although I can't find it in the current scope. What did I call it? States? No, I called it stats. Don't give me these problems. Oh, the game's still running. I have to stop running it. I think that was the problem. Don't give me these problems, Godot. Okay, we've got stats in our enemy cannon. Now when we check our exported variables over here on the right for our enemy cannon, we can click and we can do new stats, and we can just create a new stats resource, and we can set the health. Let's set it to 3. Now, we have to connect. We've already connected to hurt. in our ready function. And previously we just did Q free. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say stats.health minus equals other hitbox.damage. So we're taking our hurtbox component and we're taking our stats resource and we're connecting them together. So when our hurtbox is hurt, we remove health from our stats. Now we can connect to stats.nohealth.connect. And we can just make it an anonymous function here, and we can say Q free. Let's save, run the game. Attack 1, 2, 3, and the enemy is dead. We can also print the health here. Print stat health. So we can see, we can watch it go from 3 to 2, 2 to 1, and 1 to 0 until it dies. Awesome. Now there's a problem, and we haven't seen it yet. I'm going to show you. Come into 2D, come into world, click on the enemy cannon, duplicate it. Oops, don't do that. Move it over here and run the game. Now we're going to attack this cannon, okay? 2, 1, 0, just like we'd expect. Whoa! They both got deleted. Why is that? It's because in Godot, resources are shared. This stats resource on the enemy cannon, it's shared amongst all enemy cannons. Anytime you hit one, every single one of them, imagine this is like a global stats that is shared. There's 3 health that is hive mind health, and every time you hit one enemy, they all get their health reduced because it's all shared. Inside of Godot, the reason that resources do this is because it can be useful for optimization. Sprites, for example, or these textures, for example, are resources. They are shared. It doesn't make sense to redraw a tree a million times when you already have one that you've already drawn. So you can share that resource and it can optimize your code. But in this case, it's hurting us because we don't want the stats to be shared. Now, Godot, on all resources, if you click this little resource drop down, has a local to scene Boolean right here. I've had mixed results with this. If we hover over it, it says it duplicates the resource for each scene at runtime. If you check this, I don't like to use this approach. It might work. I don't even know if it'll work here. It did work. Okay. I don't like to use this approach because I've had mixed results with it. And maybe that was bugs in the past and I've just been burned and I no longer use it because of that. I do want to show it. But we're going to do that exact same thing in code. If you see right here, it just says that it duplicates. Yeah, it says the resource is duplicated. We're just going to duplicate the resource ourselves in code because I've found that to be more reliable. Our stats here for enemy cannon can have a setter. Like this. We'll say if value is not stats, return. Oop, there we go. We don't want to do anything. Well, we do actually want to set stats still. So stats equals value. This. So we'll set stats equal to value, but if stats is not stats, return. And we're just checking to make sure that it's actually stats the type, because it could be null. That could be a possibility. And if that's the case, we want to exit out of this setter. Otherwise, stats equals stats.duplicate. And this and then there's an optional argument that you can pass in, which is to duplicate any sub-resources. So a resource can also contain resources, sub-resources within it, if you were to create variables of resources, and it can duplicate those as well. By default, it's set to false. In this case, we don't need it to, so we'll just leave it as false. That will just duplicate the current stats and assign it to our stats variable. Now, remember, I've turned off this local to scene, but now that we've duplicated the stats in code, we get the same behavior where it's not killing both enemies. That's the exact behavior that we want. Okay, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed learning about resources and learning a little bit more about the nuance with area entered and area 2Ds. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Click the bell and leave a comment down below if you have any questions for me. I will see you all in the next video.